Birth of Ganesha. One day, goddess Parvati was getting ready to bathe on Mount Kailash. Since she did not want to be disturbed, she told her husband Shiva's bull Nandi to guard the door and not let anyone pass. Nandi, intending to fulfill Parvati's wishes, loyally took his place. However, when Shiva came home and naturally wanted to come inside, Nandi first had to be loyal to Shiva and let him pass. Parvati was angry at this small thing, but more than that, at the fact that there was no one as loyal to Shiva as Nandi. So, taking turmeric paste for bathing from her body and breathing life into it, she created Ganesha, declaring him her own loyal son. The next time Parvati wanted to bathe, she made Ganesha guard the door. As time passed, Shiva came home, but found this strange boy saying that he could not enter his own house. Enraged, Shiva ordered his army to destroy the boy, but they all failed. Being the son of a goddess, Ganesha had such power. This surprised Shiva. Seeing that this was no ordinary boy, the usually calm Shiva decided to fight him and in his divine anger cut off Ganesha's head and killed him immediately. When Parvati learned of this, she was so angry and humiliated that she decided to destroy the entire creation. Brahma, the creator, naturally had his problems with this and begged him to reconsider his harsh plan. She said she would do so, but only if two conditions were met. 1. To bring Ganesha back to life, and 2. To worship him forever before all the other gods. Shiva, who had cooled down by now, realized his mistake and agreed to Parvati's terms. He sent Brahma to bring back the head of the first living being, which lay with its head in the north. Soon Brahma returned with the head of a strong and powerful elephant, which Shiva placed on Ganesha's body. Having given him new life, he declared Ganesha his own son and gave him the status of Ganapati, the foremost of the gods and the leader of all the Ganas classes of beings. At first glance, this story seems like a nice story that we can tell our children or a myth without any real substance. However, its true mystical meaning is hidden. It is explained as follows. A form of goddess Parvati, Parashakti, the supreme power. In the human body, she resides in the Muladhara chakra in the form of Kundalini Shakti. It is said that when we purify ourselves and get rid of the impurities that bind us, the Lord automatically comes. That is why the Supreme Lord Shiva came unannounced while Parvati was bathing. Nandi, the bull of Shiva, whom Parvati first sent to guard the door, represents the divine nature. Nandi is so devoted to Shiva that his every thought is directed towards him and he is able to easily recognize him when the Lord comes. This shows that the attitude of a spiritual aspirant gains entry to the abode of the goddess Kundalini Shakti. This attitude of a devotee must be developed before one can qualify for the highest treasure of spiritual attainment that only the goddess can offer. After Nandi allowed Shiva to enter, Parvati took turmeric paste from her body and created Ganesha with it. Yellow is the color associated with the Muladhara chakra, where Kundalini resides, and Ganesha is the god who guards this chakra. To protect the divine secret from immature minds, the goddess had to create Ganesha, who represents earthly awareness, as a shield. When this awareness begins to turn like Nandi away from the things of the world and towards the divine, the great secret is revealed. Shiva is the Lord and the Supreme Guru. Here Ganesha represents the life bound by ego. When the Lord comes, the life surrounded by the cloud of ego usually does not recognize him, and perhaps even ends up arguing or fighting with him. Therefore, it is the duty of the Lord in the form of the Guru to cut off the head of our ego. However, this ego is so strong that at first the Guru's instructions may not work, as Shiva's armies fail to subdue Ganesha. This often requires a harsh method, but, eventually, the merciful Guru finds a way out with his wisdom. After learning of Ganesha's demise, the goddess threatened to destroy the entire creation. This indicates that when the ego thus dies, the liberated life loses interest in its temporary physical vehicle, the body, and begins to merge with the Supreme. The physical world is represented here by the goddess. This impermanent and changeable creation is a form of the goddess. This body belongs to her, the unchanging whole of Shiva, which belongs to the soul. When the ego dies, the external world, which depends on the ego for its existence, disappears with it. If we want to know the secrets of this world, which is the manifestation of the goddess, we are told that we must first seek the blessings of Ganesha. Shiva's bringing Ganesha to life and replacing his head with that of an elephant means that before we leave the body, the Lord first replaces our small ego with the big, or universal ego. This does not mean that we become more egoistic. On the contrary, we no longer identify with the limited individual self, but with the great universal self. In this way, our life is renewed, a life that truly benefits creation. However, it is only the dynamic ego that Krishna and Buddha retain. It is like a thin thread that binds free consciousness to our world, just for our benefit. Ganesha is given dominion over the Ganas, a general term that refers to all classes of beings, from insects, animals and humans to subtle and celestial beings. All these various beings contribute to the government of creation. Everything from natural forces like storms and earthquakes to elemental qualities like fire and water, to the functioning of body organs and processes. If we do not respect the Ganas, our every action is a form of theft, because it is not approved. Therefore, instead of propitiating each Ganas to obtain their blessings, we bow down to their Lord Sri Ganesha. By obtaining their grace, we obtain the grace of all. He removes any potential obstacles and enables our efforts to succeed. Such is the greatness of Sri Ganesha. Jai Ganesha. Thank you for watching.